Happy Friday. I've tried to do this video a few times now, and I don't know if it's because it's Friday, if it's a full moon, new moon, what it is, but it's not going as smoothly as I want to, which is cool. You just gotta roll with the punches, right? So I've been trying to answer a question from a dear friend about all of the books that I've read that helped me through this spiritual journey of mine. And it all goes back to Eckhart Tolle when I was in high school. I read the book called The Power of Now and followed by another book of his called A New Earth. And Eckhart Tolle really talks about the ego and how we can separate ourselves from that. There was a story about two monks who was going on a journey up a mountain. They weren't supposed to help or talk to anybody along the way. When they got to the river, there was a girl that needed help to cross over. So one of the monks decided to pick her up and help her across. 2 hours went by, and the monk finally said, I feel bad for helping her, but at the same time, I really thought that was the right thing to do at that time. And the other monk looked at him and said, why are you still carrying her on your back? And that story really resonated with me because a lot of the times our mind is filled with garbage, with illusions and made up stories that we just keep alive to fill our egoic needs. A lot of the times those stories are just illusions, right? It's almost like a dream state. So at night when you go to sleep, you have a bunch of dreams, you wake up, and you go, I won't worry about it, it was just a dream, and we let it go, we forget about it. But for some reason, we can't let go when we're actually not in that dream state. So our goal is to let go of all that mental garbage. And our life is pretty much just like a dream, and all we need to do is wake up. And that's what I'm doing through my spiritual journey here. Another book that I've read is called The Secret and the Power by Rhonda Byrne. And that one talks a lot about the law of attraction. Whatever you think will actually come to life. This is a really cool concept. I've played around with this. There was an actual experiment done in the book and they recommended us to do it. So the one night before I went to work, at the time I was working at Susie Shear, and I thought of a gold and pink elastic with one of those metal clips on it, and it had black hair wrapped all around it. Next day, I thought about it throughout the day, and when I was cleaning the change room before I left, I saw that exact elastic, and my mind was blown because I actually put what I read to action and got the result that they were talking about. And that's what this is all about. It doesn't matter how many books you read, how many pages you highlight, how many corners you bend. I was maybe only applying 10 to 15% of what I've learned. Now, I'm really seeing the value in putting in my full 100% every day. Some days will be better than others, and I'm really starting to see the results. Another two books I've read, and I won't go into details with them, is The Four Agreements by Don Miguel, and the one I'm reading now is called Seat of the Soul by Gary Zukav. That one really goes deep, and that's why I kind of saved that one for one of the last ones I talk about. Actually, I won't talk about that one in this video. That's a whole new video. And the last one I want to mention is a dear book from Dr. Shefali Tisbury. I hope I said her name right. And she wrote two books. One of them is called Conscious Parenting, and the other one called Out of Control. So when we become parents, we go through this transitional phase. And she talks about how we like to be in control. And when you have children, you lose that control because before you had any kids, you decided when you wanted to eat, sleep, and wake up. When you have another human, like a baby in your life, You have to go around their schedule whenever they're hungry, whenever they're tired, whenever they want to wake up. You help guide them, but at the same time, you still need to be that role model, right? So it's tricky. It's really tricky to transition into that. And our goal is to let go of that control. Now, she talks about, obviously, there's dangerous situations that we don't want our kids to face. So if your kid's by a road or getting into the car or, saying, anything that's really life-threatening, then obviously that's not what we're talking about. But it's more about controlling your kids' every single actions, decisions throughout the day, and hovering them is really not helping them evolve into their own self. And when kids come on earth, I won't say they're perfect, but they have like a divine feel or divine sense to them. So when a kid is happy, he's fully happy. When he's sad, he goes full out sad. When they're excited, you could see it. They don't have all that crap in their mind like we tend to develop when we get older. They don't have the illusions, the made-up stories of the ego in their mind yet. That's something that we, for some reason, teach ourselves as a society. So that's why it feels so good to hold a baby, to be around kids. It's because they bring this innocence. They help us bring us back to the present moment. And that's all that this transformational stuff is about, is making sure that, sorry, my battery was dying here, making sure that we access the present moment as much as we can. She also talks about discipline. So Out of Control, her book there, I won't go into many details, and this is not to say however you choose to discipline your kid, this is not saying one's right or wrong. All it is she's giving alternatives to show that there are creative ways to show your child. And she uses an example where, for example, if your kid comes home and doesn't want to do his homework, then as parents, we'll take away iPad or we'll take away his cell phone. And that's not really helping them. That's not really getting to the core, or to the bottom of the root of what's really causing this behavior. So for example, as adults, it's like, I don't know, we go to a store and we steal something, and the law decides to take our vehicle away. Well, it doesn't really go hand in hand, and we're not really accessing the reason why we did that in the first place. So most likely the behavior will keep on happening. So it's the same with our kids. So as soon as we access the reasons why they're acting that way, and a lot of times it's not even for the reasons that we think it is. So we got to break down those barriers and go deeper and figure out the cause of that action, and that's what's going to create the change in behavior. So it's not necessarily disciplining your child, but it's actually going to the root of the problem and accessing it from that point of view, so that your child, that you help them get through that situation, and then they don't create that behavior again in the future. So one last thing that she also talks about is, a lot of the times when our kids are angry, are sad, or frustrated, it brings out our own inner pain. So that's why we learn so much from our kids, because a lot of the times we get frustrated and we react to how they're acting. And how are we supposed to help them through their emotions if we react to them? And I was just as guilty of this. And I struggled through that earlier when Dwight was younger. And now I'm slowly starting to realize that I need to separate myself from that. I don't react to how he's feeling. I become a space for him to express his feelings. And I notice there's a shift, and it takes him less time, and it's way easier for him to get over it, because I'm a space of love for him, and I don't react, and I don't project my stuff onto him. So she goes into all those fun details. I could keep talking about this. The video is almost 10 minutes. But if you read one of those books and you get something out of it, then I feel like I've done my job in sharing all these things with you guys. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I just want to thank you for allowing me to express myself. and for giving me that continuous support. I wouldn't be able to do this without all of you.